Good evening, everyone. I'll call our meeting to order here in council chambers at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Macias.
Present.
Razak.
Present.
Timian.
Present.
Finch.
Present.
McNeil.
Present.
Castro.
Present.
Schmidt.
Present.
Do we have a remote electronic attendance after all? Okay.
I would like to make a motion to approve the remote electronic attendance of Alderperson Murphy at the City Council meeting of August 26, 2025, due to a personal illness or disability.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Schmidt. Roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Present.
Castro.
I mean, it's an aye or
Aye.
a nay. Thank you.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
All right, welcome Alder Murphy. We'll try to, I'm so sorry to ask, we are supposed to have the video going or
We should have the video on if she has video capability.
okay, if you're able to do that, that would be preferred. But I will try to watch for you raising a hand, make a comment, etc. But please jump in if I miss your raised hand. Is there public comment this evening? Okay, thank you. None from the chambers. Questions on the agenda? Hearing none, we move to our public hearing. I hereby open this public hearing for item number 20.4, text amendments to the zoning and land development code at 6:01. Alderperson Timian, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor and members of council. I am here today representing a zoning change that came about for a number of reasons. The first of which is that the tide of development has changed drastically over the last few decades. The amount of house that people want or can afford is going down, and it is decreasing. With that, the Moline zoning code strictly prohibits a certain type of development, and it isn't necessarily the small
Welcome
houses.
to WebEx. Enter your access code or meeting number followed by pound.
But it is effectively forcing, it is limiting the minimum lot size which people can build upon. 30% of the lots in the city of Moline are under 6,000 square feet.
Is not valid, or the meeting is not started yet. Re-enter your access.
And I'll ask that people please mute on the meeting because we can hear the WebEx prompt. 30% of the lots within Moline are under 6,000 square feet, which is currently the minimum lot size that is buildable without a variance. Variances are effectively a hoop that people need to jump through in order to build. You can build on a 5,000 square foot lot if you buy the lot, get plans, submit it to Plan Commission, get a variance, approval from the city. These are just extra hurdles that people need to go through, which are effectively deterrents from multiple housing types, especially the smaller types that people want on smaller lots. It is my position that members of City Council and the government of Moline should not dictate how big someone's yard should be. And that is effectively what's happening right now with our R2 zoning code. We are forcing people to have only 25% of their lot be their primary residence and the rest be garage, auxiliary buildings, or yard. We have a fairly standard 30-foot front yard setback. I believe it's a 20-foot backyard setback that is required. The changes that I'm proposing in this bill change the minimum lot size from 6,000 square feet to 2,000 square feet. The maximum lot coverage for a primary residence increases from 25% to 85%. This allows a normal size house on a smaller lot. It also reduces front yard and backyard setbacks, and it also reduces the minimum parking spots from 2 to 1, which would allow for smaller houses with one parking lot, which is a lot more accommodable for some of the historically smaller lots we have. In research for this, I did drive around the city and I looked at a number of lots. I counted around 30 that are under 2,000 square feet. And these lots have houses on them and people are living within them. So this is not a matter of no one will live in these houses because people already do. The question is, what is the city's responsibility? And what is our role in all this? On my refrigerator, I have written a quote that I pulled from a podcast a number of years ago. And it simply says that regulations limit private property for public benefit. And I think that that's fair. Laws are meant to influence behavior. And if we look at the origins of the lot sizes and what they were trying to accomplish, we no longer need that. And I think it is actually working against furtherance of housing affordability and optionality within the city. So I do not believe that the city should be regulating so strictly housing size and lot size and a lot of other things. So I don't know, do we open, could we do questions, or is it just
Not
a
yet.
statement? All right. Well, thank you all very much for your consideration, and I'm happy to talk about this more later.
Thank you. Alderperson McNeil is a co-sponsor. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, before we begin the public hearing, I just want to thank,
We have begun.
okay, so as we begin the public hearing, I want to thank the mayor, council, plan commission, city staff, and everyone for continued focus on housing and attainable housing in the city of Moline. I want to thank Alderperson Timian for taking the lead on this proposal and championing what I think is a responsible approach to addressing our housing needs. I'm proud to co-sponsor this ordinance, and I believe it's a positive step in expanding options for residents while supporting a smart, sustainable growth pattern in our community. But most importantly, I look forward to hearing from the public tonight. Your input is vital, and we appreciate your engagement as we consider legislation together. That's all.
Thank you. Is there any testimony from those in favor of the text amendments to the zoning and land development code? Public. Hearing none, I move to, is there any testimony from those in opposition to the text amendments to the zoning and land development code? Okay. Are there any other questions or statements? Hearing none, this public hearing is closed at 6:07. Okay, so we move to our committee of the whole agenda items. 7.1, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a contract with Walter D. Laud, Inc. for project number 1484 7th Street and 16th Avenue intersection reconstruction for the amount of $292,565,000.64. Hang on one second, I think there's a question.
I apologize. Madam Chair, I need to address to a personal matter. May I please be excused for
Yes,
a moment?
please. We still have a quorum, thank you.
I was trying to find out what I had to do.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, Mr. Vitas?
Sure, yes, Mayor and members of council, President Anna, Alderman Murphy. Staff is recommending approval of the bid award to Walter D. Loud in the amount of $292,565.64. We had received 4 competitive bids for this project, and this would be for the intersection improvement at 17th Street and 16th Avenue, which, as you know, is in really poor condition, so we're recommending approval. It is
Motion to-
budgeted.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion. Yes, Mr. Macia.
Just a quick question. What's the timeline roughly?
The construction would be this fall and completed, I think, by December, November.
Okay. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call, please. What? No, because she's online.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt. Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. 6 ayes, no nays. 7.2, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a local public agency engineering services agreement for Phase 2 engineering design for motor fuel tax section number 24-00296-00-SW River Drive Streetscaping Project from 12th Street to 19th Street for an amount not to exceed $301,400. Mr. Vitas.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the board, we are recommending approval of this bid award to Walter D. Loud, Inc. as the lowest responsible bidder for this project. As you know, this is a project that is part of our capital improvement plan and budget. It is budgeted to be designed and then to be later constructed about a year and a half from now. So we are recommending approval for the design engineering at this point.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Finch, second by Razak. Discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye. All right, motion passes, 6 ayes, no nays. 7.3, a resolution authorizing a grant to the Sprint the Miss. That's not a typo, right?
No, it's not.
Got it.
That is correct.
Sprint the Miss event sponsored by Two Rivers YMCA for the amount of $1,000 from the Special Events Fund to help offset expenses for the annual event to be held on Saturday, September 20th, 2025. Mr. Vitas?
Yes, staff is recommending approval of the request from the Two Rivers YMCA in order to assist in the, from the Special Events Fund to assist in the Sprint the Miss event that they're scheduled to take place September 20th in the amount of $1,000.
Motion to approve?
There's also a representative in the audience, I think.
Thank you. I think I heard a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Thank you. That was Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye. Okay. That motion passes, 6 ayes, no nays. 7.4, an ordinance amending Chapter 35 zoning and land development of the Moline Code of Ordinances regarding public hearing notice requirements, including amendments to Article 2, Division 2, Section 35-2201, Common Elements of Procedures, Section 35-2202, Comprehensive Plan Amendment, and Section 35-2203, Zoning and Land Development Code Amendment and Rezoning. Mr. Mathias.
Thank you. The amendment before you, the intent behind it, I guess, is we have been making a lot of zoning amendments lately, and we plan to make a lot more. What this requires, it goes above and beyond state statute, and it makes us put a quarter-page ad in the newspaper, which roughly we pay about $500 each time we have to notice something. And we don't feel like we get the best bang for our buck in terms of actually notifying people. So we would keep the requirement still to have an ad in the newspaper is what we're proposing here. But we would like to try and branch out and get some more, and this was the input from the Plan Commission, to try and have another way of notifying some people of our Plan Commission hearings and things. Now, keep in mind, if we have something that involves one particular property in the city, you know, we send out notices. That's something that's also in here is we're proposing to change that a little bit and get it out to more people. An example for LRS, we only send it to 2 property owners because that was all that was within 250 feet. We're proposing to actually send this out to more property owners based on what we have in front of you, even if they're not within that 250 foot. And then the Plan Commission did say for these ones where we have, in the past, we've required a quarter-page ad. What the Plan Commission has asked for is, could we perhaps put something on the city website to let them know about public hearings at the Plan Commission, maybe something that's on the front page of the website. And they've also asked if we could maybe put something on Facebook with Ashley and how she does things. So looking for your feedback there, because that's more of a procedural thing. We don't really need to amend the code based on those. That's more a policy in our procedures. But you can see the text amendments we have in front of you, and staff is recommending approval of those.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Timian, seconded by Castro. Yeah. Discussion. Yes, Mr. Timian.
I think this is great. It's, you know, we're meeting minimum state. We're not going to get caught up in like, what's a quarter page? Is it off by a centimeter or two? Because then it has been an issue in the past where our ad was just slightly too small. and we had to rerun it, and it delays things. So I think that this is great. I also think that, obviously, social media is a wonderful place, and I like contacting the 20 closest residents as opposed to 250 feet. I think that just shows a lot of consideration for the neighbors of properties. So I think all in all, this is a wonderful suggestion from the Plan Commission.
Thank you. Ms. Castro, was that a?
I was just going to agree also. I think that there's fewer people who are getting the newspaper these days. So anytime that we can get the word out in other ways like social media or online is great. So I think it's a good move.
Thank you. Anything further from the council? All right, hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. Did I say the previous ones incorrectly?
saying six.
I'm so sorry, please correct it. They've been 7 ayes, 0 nays. Right?
Correct,
Yes.
7-0.
Yes, this is, I apologize. That motion passes, 7 ayes, 0 nays. And Alderperson Schmidt is back.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. 7.5, a resolution approving the special event application for the Walk to End Alzheimer's event scheduled for Saturday, September 13, 2025. That is sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association, authorizing a grant to the Alzheimer's Association for the amount of $500 from the Special Events Fund to support the Friends of Walk marketing distribution plan, closing certain streets more particularly described herein to vehicular traffic, and authorizing the use of public right-of-way in conjunction with said event. Mr. Vital?
Staff is recommending approval based upon review and acceptance by the Special Event Committee.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. 8 ayes, no nays. 7.6, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a purchase and sale agreement with David A. Swanson and Sandra D. Swanson for approximately 10,890 square feet or 0.26 acres of unimproved commercial real property located at the rear of property located at 223 52nd Street, Moline, Illinois, for a purchase price of $19,500, and authorizing all appropriate city officials, officers, city attorney, and staff to do all things necessary to complete each of the city's responsibilities and enforce each of the city's expected benefits as referred to in such agreement. Mr. Vitas.
Yes, I'm happy to, Mayor and Council, present this evening. This is the piece of property that is directly related to the Stormwater Management Improvement Project in the East Gate TIF. So this particular piece of property is old 2nd Avenue right-of-way that the city sold back in 1951. So we are buying back that which we sold long before anybody in this room was around, probably, would be my guess. But we are buying the property back for the appraised value that we actually received. So we're recommending approval of the purchase sale agreement as presented this evening. So we can proceed with the project this September and hopefully be done with it in the spring.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye. All right, that motion passes. 8 ayes, no nays. 7.7, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to an intergovernmental agreement by and between the city of Moline and Rock Island County Metropolitan Mass Transit Authority consisting of electric vehicle charging stations host lease agreement. Mr. Vitas.
Yes, this agreement would allow Metrolink to install in 2 different locations on city property, in city parking lots, the electric charging stations, which Metrolink was able to obtain actually through a grant project that they were involved in, and we're recommending approval of installation at both locations and the intergovernmental agreement as written.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Schmidt. Discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye. The motion passes, 8 ayes, no nays. 7.8, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a notice of intent to award with Miller Trucking and Excavating Company for project 1495, 2025 lead service line replacement project for the amount of $3,410,845.
Good evening. Before you have consideration to authorize the mayor to execute a notice of intent to award this bid to Miller Trucking and Excavation Company, we did receive notice from McClintock Trucking and Excavation that they had withdrawn their bid. And so with that, we are bringing this forward for the council to consider to reaward the bid so that we can continue with our lead service program and get that started. Also, for your consideration, we have placed this on the agenda for later in the meeting for consideration so that we can expedite our grant agreement with the IEPA to get this project going forward.
Thank you very much.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Mr. Timian?
Barry or anyone, can we talk a little bit about how that bid was withdrawn and what the circumstances were? I think it's good information to have for legal reasons.
If it's acceptable, Your Honor, I'll answer that.
Yes.
Okay. So McClintock notified us shortly after the 120-day period that they were required to keep their bid open, that they were withdrawing it. Because this had to be approved by IEPA because of the loan, we could not do an intent to award any sooner than we received the notice from IEPA that it had been processed. They ordinarily take something like 60 days. For some reason this time, they took substantially longer. We sent notice by email on the last day of the 120-day period. We do not have proof that it was received, only that it was sent, and so we were not able to hold them to their bid. They did not, according to them, receive notice until after the 120-day period. Therefore, they are able to withdraw under the terms of the bid documents. So McClintock has withdrawn, and Miller was willing to keep their bid open beyond the 120 days, and so we're going with them. The increased cost, I think that Laura can probably speak to that as well as I can, but I did want to make it clear there is an increased cost here. However, the increased cost, if we go beyond what we have budgeted under the IEPA loan, we actually can stop it at that, wait and see whether IEPA has more money, and then have additional work done so that hopefully the entire amount will end up being covered by IEPA money. We had to make sure it was budgeted first, because if we budgeted it at a lower amount, if IEPA had extra money left over at the end of the budget cycle, we wouldn't be eligible for it.
Thank you.
So-
Other question? Yeah.
Just with that, are we taking steps to add read receipts to emails going forward, so this kind of thing won't happen?
Yeah, I had a meeting just yesterday with a number of department heads and other staff to make sure that in the future we will be either, if we're sending an email, getting a read receipt, or we'll be sending a certified mail, or there will be an in-person delivery. We will have the information going forward to be able to show that it was not just sent, but was actually received within the applicable time period.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Schmidt?
Two questions, one at a time, or however that goes. But are there any outstanding legal issues regarding this matter?
Regarding McClintock in particular?
Yes, of course, the project and all
Yeah.
of this.
On this bid, regarding McClintock, there are no outstanding legal issues. We have acknowledged reluctantly, but acknowledged, they withdrew their bid. They're done. At this point, we have the bid still held open, still honored by Miller, and McClintock is no longer a part of it. So there is no longer any basis to think about McClintock in terms of this particular work.
As we look at that, well, from an administrative point of view,
Yep.
Has McClintock wronged us in any way? Have they done something that we should take into consideration in future considerations of whether they are responsible bidders with how this has gone, or given that it's followed, it's in the normal process, that's something we are to set aside? Just asking what's appropriate to consider, and if there is an opinion on that. In the past, we have had when there have been contentious issues, we've addressed that as far as how that was meant with places where we might consider not working with someone or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just asking if this is in that realm or if this is not.
I think this will answer your question. If not, then please point out to me that I haven't, and I'll give a better answer. But we do have a process. If someone were to withdraw their bid prior to the time that they were required by the bid documents to keep it open, we have a process for debarring them from bidding for a period of time, which is flexible. This does not meet that criteria. They withdrew only after the 120 days had passed. While I have my own personal opinion about whether or not they received notice, that doesn't matter. What matters is whether or not we can prove it, and we can't. And so there is nothing that we can do formally in this particular circumstance for this particular situation.
Thank you.
Anything further from the council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
All right, that motion passes, eight ayes, no nays. 7.9, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a licensing agreement with CBI Bank and Trust for an underground private electrical line located in 36th Street right-of-way. Is that Vitas or
Mr. Atkins
Atkins?
can take it. He handled this matter.
Thank you.
With regards to this particular license agreement, this is simply another entity taking over a pre-existing licensing agreement. So this was already in existence. Offhand, I don't remember who the prior entity was. I should have looked that up before coming in. But it is basically just a change of who the owner is of the property.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
All right, that motion passes, 8 ayes, no nays. Thank you, everyone. We move to our informational, which features Ms. Barnes' budget work session, 2026 to 28.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Tonight, we are continuing the 26 to 28 budget discussions, and we will be reviewing our 4 enterprise funds and the projected user fees needed to balance each one of those budgets.
Let's make sure the microphone's directly in front of Carol, please. Thank you.
I'll try to scoot up. Can
Or
you-
switch seats with Barry.
Yeah, Barry.
Can
Well,
you-
she's
Switch
got
seats.
all her stuff
No,
laid out.
don't,
Okay, can you hear now, Your Honor?
Can you just, yeah,
I'll try to
just
speak up a little bit.
There we go.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Following that discussion, I will very briefly review the August 2025 budget amendments, and I'm going to try to keep a little bit of a look on the clock here. I'm hoping we can get through it in about 30 to 40 minutes. It just depends on discussions here. As you recall at the roundtable discussion on July 15th, we did an in-depth review of the CIP infrastructure projects for each of these funds, as well as we reviewed each of these departments' capital equipment, the vehicle requests, as well as the funding needed for South Slope. We also updated council with the projected increases in fees that would be needed to balance the funds. And those CIP projects are in front of you tonight on the agenda here just a little bit later. Tonight, I am very happy to report that we have completed our review of the operating budgets for these 4 enterprise funds, and the increased user fees that we projected back in July are sufficient to balance each one of those budgets. So there's no surprises here tonight at all. Our goal as we work to balance those budgets continue to include 4 main criteria. Number 1, that we fully fund the operating budgets for each of the enterprise funds through user fees, that we treat them like a private business. We try to maintain a minimum cash balance of 25 to 30% of annual operating costs. We provide funding for all required capital costs, that is infrastructure like the streets, equipment, vehicles, buildings, plants like South Slope. And we provide funding for all current and projected future debt service payments. And the fee structure that I'm going to be reviewing here in just a little while with you achieve all 4 of those criteria for each one of those 4 funds. And so with that, I'm going to have Laura and Denver review their enterprise funds with you, and then I'm going to circle back and we're going to review the financials and the cash flows and the projected user fees.
Good evening. Just as a quick recap, at the water pollution control facilities, we have our significant improvements as we're getting ready for South Slope. That's coming right up. That was presented back in 2021. The time is now here. We're going to start construction very soon. Unbelievable. And the project has been included in the IEPA, SRF, IUP, and we were able to receive a $120 million allocation, which is wonderful. It did increase from the initial $73 million, but we've already discussed why some of those costs increased. And we have awarded, the council awarded that bid to IHC, and we expect to start construction next month. In addition, at North Slope, we have our phosphorus removal improvements. That is before you as well with Leander Construction. That will be a little bit later on the agenda. And we are hoping to get that started, provided council approves, in October of this year. We continue to do our smoke testing program and our capacity improvements at the Coal Creek Pump Station. We have before you, as Carol mentioned, all of the CIP projects that we have been discussing, so it is there for your reference. We will go on to look at the sewer fund revenue, and there we have our wholesale customers, our residential non-strength municipal customers, and then the surcharge to customers who have their waste is of a strength that it requires us to do more treatment to the solids and the biological demands. And that's listed for you between laundry, restaurant, grocery, bakery, and creamery uses. Before you, you have for consideration our sewer rate recommendations. In the past, it was a 9% increase. That was in 24 and 25, and that was for retail and hotel customers. This time, we are recommending a 6% rate increase for retail and wholesale from 2026 through 2028. We're looking at proposed 5% rate increase for the years 29 through 2031. Our industry standard is to aim for 30% of the fixed revenue, so we're well within keeping of that. The next page shows you where we are presenting our 6% increase for 2026, 2027, and 2028, so you can see how the rate will slightly increase. And we are well within, we also have our wholesale commodity, which is towards the bottom of the page in the green as well. This is the rate comparison that is showing you what has been proposed based on the 6% that staff is recommending for Moline, but it also compares that to Davenport, East Moline, and Rock Island. And as you will note, Rock Islands will expire in December of 2025, and we do not know what that rate increase may or may not be. But we provide this for you as a comparison. We provide you with the monthly sewer fee, the fixed monthly sewer fee. And then you will see in the lower column where it says monthly cost 4 gallons, it is showing what the bill would be for 2025 currently and what it would be in 2026 if you are agreeable with the 6% increase. That $45.47 represents based on a 4,000 gallon usage as well as the fixed sewer rate. That's all combined together in that fee. Why we talk about this is there are requirements as a part of that IEPA loan that we have to have the funding identified and be able to demonstrate that we can cover that loan amount. And in that is just explaining why we have to do what we're doing as we're considering, council is considering the new rates. Here for your review is a history of where the sewer rates have been, and the 6% is a little bit lesser rate, and it's a gradual increase annually, 6%. And in 2037, just as a note, the North Slope debt note will expire, so that will be coming off. Now we're moving on to stormwater. As you well know, that was created in 2002, and the utilities department was brought in, stormwater was brought into the utilities department, in 2019. There you will see customer charges and monthly charges for 2025. Gives you a list of what it would be for residential small, residential medium, residential large, and then we also have commercial and multifamily residential, and that was changed in 2023 to charge per impervious acre. So that's just to remind that we moved to the rate per acre, and in 2023 it was $70.20, and now for the 2025 rate, it is at $71.60. The master plan was adopted by council back in 2023, and with that there was a prioritization of how those funds would be spent. Again, for just a reference and reminder, we have identified what has been discussed previously for capital projects for stormwater. With that is just a few pictures of some project that staff has been undertaking to help us with our stormwater management and to do creek maintenance and stormwater management throughout the city. For stormwater, staff is recommending a 2% increase in 2026, but that's also the same 2% increase for 2027 as well as 2028. So it's a very slight annual increase so that it is not such a burden for all of our customers. And again, you will see there's a listing there for all the different uses. This is, and I apologize, it may be a little bit hard to read. You might be able to see it on your computers better. But what staff is trying to do here is to give you an idea of what, with those proposed rates, how that would compare for measured commercial comparison with Rhode Island, I always say that, I apologize, Rock Island in East Moline. And what we're showing you there is a monthly basis for a for a single family, non-single family, I'll get this straight. Then we have in the lower picture, that would be I can't read this either, medium single family. And then to the right, we are showing what it would be for a commercial non-single family, so that we're trying to give you an idea. And with that, it's showing you that we are lower than our companion cities. This again is a history of our stormwater rate, and as you can see, for 17 years, prior councils didn't do anything for 17 years. So we're playing somewhat of a catch up. And that's why staff is feeling comfortable bringing the 2% forward. And now we're on to our water system. And those rates have not changed since 2014. That was a partnership with Silvis that had us delay our rate adjustments. We did our water treatment plant debt And meter replacement, that debt was retired in 2024. We are beginning our lead service program in fall of this year. And we are in the process of reviewing our water treatment plant facilities planning. We've been looking at that plan, and just today staff met to start to prioritize some of the facility improvements for the next 3 years so we can start to plan that for future CIP. We also have PFAS regulations. We've been hearing a lot about those. Those are anticipated to be finalized, and the city must comply in 2029. And the program is underway to reimburse our homeowners that have already done lead service removal. And we anticipate or approximate that there's 40 households for about $220,000. So we're in the throes of starting to look at that program for that reimbursement. Here again is just an identification of the CIP projects we have previously talked about. This is to give you a quick review of some of the pictures of what's going on in our water treatment plant and some of the ongoing much needed maintenance that is needed for that facility. As a reference back to our lead service program, what we're showing you here is an infrastructure surcharge that was discussed at the COW back on April 16th. And what we're showing you here is something that could be considered by City Council in the future year, not necessarily for 2026, but something possibly for 2027 as you're looking outward on what might be happening with our fees. This is also subject to change once we have the final replacement rules that are known. The EPA is still coming out with some of that, so we're not entirely sure what the final will be. And again, we have our history of our water rates. And then on to what is being proposed for our water rates for Moline. What it's showing you here is on the top section, it's the rate per 1,000 gallons, and that's the $5.23, which is currently today. In 2026, we're recommending $5.34. What you're seeing in red is to give you an idea how rates could potentially change if council decided they wanted to add that surcharge to cover some of our lead service lines that we were talking about that we need to reimburse. And then what you're seeing is our fixed monthly fee. And then at the lower section is what it would be for a typical household, 4,000 gallons. And it's showing you in 2025, it's at $34.01. And here in 2026, it would be $34.70. And that would be it.
Thank you so much. We have questions, I think, at this point before we get a little farther. Mr. Schmidt?
Yeah, looking at the surcharge fee that's being that's being considered, the advantage, I just want to make sure I'm thinking this through correctly, I guess. The advantage of putting it into a surcharge would be that we can be raising those rates to deal with that immediate problem we're not having to do. But that when we are meeting that requirement, then that goes away. It doesn't just become permanently embedded into that rate.
Yes.
Because even though we know the rates are going to go up a little bit all the time, this may have to go up a lot for a short time. That's what we're trying to accomplish there, right?
Yes. Yes.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Any other questions at this point? Yes, Mr. Schmidt.
This was back on in sewer, and this is probably more of a Carol question, the Laura, you may have the answer to. As we look at our requirements to IEPA for identifying funding sources, is that going to require us to approve rates out for more than 1 year at a time?
As part of the loan documentation that we sign, the entire contract, we have to have ample revenues to cover those debt service payments. So we actually provided a cash flow. I only attached the first 3 years, but in the round table, I had it out there for the entire 30 years. We have projected increases over that 30-year period, scaling back to 2% in the outer years. But it's something on an annual basis that we absolutely will be reviewing. We just have to make sure that there are ample revenues annually to cover all the costs.
So I've been quite vocal about only wanting to do 1 year, codifying 1 year at a time. We're planning for several, which allows us then, if we change it, have to change it up or down next year, that flexibility. But I guess my question is, are we going to need to codify more than 1 year just in this, or is that having a plan and codifying it on a yearly basis, is that going to meet the IEPA requirement?
I mean, we will look at Bill, but
Yeah,
the cash flow that we provided, at a minimum, I guess what I would say, we would need to be generating that revenue on an annual basis. How we get there, if there's other sources of revenue or whatever, if the fees are up or down, we just have to be able to show that we will have that type of coverage for those loan payments. So I think that we're okay
I
on
think that's correct.
on an annual basis.
Pulled it up, and if I may, that is coming out of our agreements. And it's saying that we just have to show that we have dedicated sources of revenue.
Yes.
And so what staff is trying to do is to give you an overview of what might be a proposal on how we might look at rates and make sure that we're not putting a huge rate on our residents and then really causing discomfort for them. So we're really trying to be much more slight increases as we're looking at, as Carol mentioned, long-term cash flow.
It would be logical, wouldn't it be, that the powers that be realize that we make 1 year budget allocations at a time?
Yes.
That's what he's worried about, is having to make an allocation longer than a year. But most places only do 1 year at a time. But you're saying then that's fine. We just have to project and show how we would cover it, even if it's not adopted yet.
Yes.
Yeah. Does that answer?
Yes, and if IEPA said, we want you to approve 3 years of whatever, I would not fight in that case. Whereas I might when we've talked about trying to do it in the longer term. Just, I think that year to year makes the most sense overall, but certainly if to secure the loans we're receiving is different, that's not something I would fight about, but.
And I might say too, I know how these normally work. The bank, they require our annual audited financial statements. And if we have updated cash flow statements, we also provide those on an annual basis. So if those fee percentages change, they'll be, in the loop always for the next 30 years.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, now we can move on.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss the sanitation fund. I was fortunate to come in last year to work through a financial plan for the sanitation fund. Continues to work. So the services that we provide through the fund would be residential refuse, the residential recycling, which is, again, is a contract that we oversee with Midland Davis, brush collection, the yard waste program, both bag and cart, as well as the bulky waste collection. Finance did a cash flow analysis and indicated that 2% was needed for the next 3 years. That will help us maintain a minimum of 25 to 30% of annual operating expenditures as well as future capital equipment. This chart illustrates that we are very competitive with our rates, continue to be for the next 3 years. I'll say service-wise, we're very competitive with other communities as well. I think that was reflected with the recent community surveys, recent community survey as well. I think we rated pretty well. We can continue to do these services at a pretty decent rate. More specifically, this year we're starting at $11.54 for the refuse collection. Again, that will increase by 2% for the next 3 years. That's the recommendation. When you add in the standard rate for the recycling at $3.69, that gets us to $15.46 per month next year. And again, that's going to be increased each of the following 3 years by 2%. For brush and bulky waste, those increases were implemented 2 years ago, and we're not looking to increase those for the next few years as well. Going through the history again, while we did have those increases in 23, 24, and 25 at 7%, the next 3 years we're looking at 2% each year. And that's it for sanitation.
Thank you. Questions at this point? Hearing none, we'll continue.
Thank you. And so just to review the user fees that we have just gone over that are needed to support each of the enterprise funds, I'm going to focus just primarily on the yellow highlighted areas. This is the same table that we use every year during the budget. At the very top, you'll see property taxes and the franchise fees. Those are yet to come in September and October. So if we concentrate in the yellow, this first slide is on a monthly basis what the impact would be per citizen, and again, projected. But for WPC, in order to pay for South Slope with everything that we've been talking about, for 2026, at 6% increase in fees, that would be $2.58 per month for WPC. For water, again, with all the projects that Laura reviewed, 69 cents a month. The water surcharge right now, we are not proposing looking at anything for 26. And for stormwater, for the medium lot, it's 13 cents a month, and for sanitation, 23 cents a month. So for a total monthly charge of $3.63 compared to $6.66 in the current year. So it is less of an increase than it was last year. If we take a look then on an annual basis what that impact is, it's just all those numbers from up above times 12. We would be looking at $43.56 on an annual basis just for the user fees for the utility funds. And that is about 55% of what the increase was last year. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to say. The main thing is on the surcharge, we're going to be reevaluating that through the month, or not through the month, through the year of 2026, and we'll be hopefully making a good decision by then. Any questions on the fee structures as proposed? And again, this breaks even all of those enterprise funds. So now for the financials. I know you've seen these, and I'm going to kind of just keep watching here how quickly, because you know I can talk in depth, but there's a lot going on.
October 18th is coming.
I'm sorry, what?
October 18th is coming. That's our.
But I'm actually hoping like we're going to knock this out so we can,
Okay.
it will save our Saturday work session. So I'm going to hit the highlights because I do want you to feel like you have a good understanding before we finalize the fees. But I will go very quick. As we review this, the very first thing out of the chute I want to say, there are absolutely no surprises. So although I'm highlighting at a high level, there's nothing hopefully that you have not heard before. So on this first page, this is our water fund. This is our statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in net position. This takes us out for the 3-year budget that we're talking about, 26 through 28. If we look down at the bottom column for 2026, our net position at the end of the year is almost $60 million, and that is total revenues over expenditures and changes in net position. So a significant investment is in this fund. If we look at total net assets, we've also got about $62.2 million of net assets in that fund. Again, as we looked for the next sheet here is our cash flow. We're following the plan of the fees that we presented at the roundtable on July 15th. Bob and I and Barry, we have reviewed the operating budgets and we are balanced. And the 2% increase that you can see up there in that top highlighted red row keeps everything status quo and keeps us through 2028 right now as projected. This cash flow has a total of $27.2 million in capital expenditures for the water fund. Again, 27.2 million. That is the largest we've ever had in a 4-year period. Infrastructure of almost $4 million. That's the water lines under the streets. We've got the lead pipe replacements of $17 million, with utilities able to hopefully attain $8 million in forgivable loans.
So that highest expenditure in capital dollars we've ever had is because we have that much capital improvement to do. It's not just South Slope, it's lead service line replacement, it's.
Yeah, and this is just the water fund. We're doing.
Right, this is
only-
literally the deferred maintenance that I can't.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the lead.
Yes.
Primarily lead. And it's,
Politely, yes.
it's wonderful. And the fact that $8 million potentially is in forgivable loans is beyond wonderful. We've got capital of equipment of $5.9 million and vehicles of $460,000. I'm going to just very briefly highlight this because you can see there is lots going on this sheet. A lot of it we've already reviewed. But you'll see the surcharge fees for the SLRF lead service loans. It's in that first section in yellow if you're looking at your laptop, $75,000 and $100,000. That's what we are right now proposing that we might be needing in 27 and 28. Again, we're going to revisit that. You'll see the next highlighted yellow, lead service line reimbursement. As Laura said, we are looking anywhere between $220,000 up to $400,000. So we will be watching that to see how much actually comes in for requests for refunds. If it ends up being a substantial, impact here, we may come back and want to have surcharges for those. But right now, we've got it in there for $400,000, and we can cash flow it. So we're in a very good financial position for that. But we're going to revisit all of that as time goes on. It also, I don't have that highlighted, but we do have in there almost $1.4 million of projected settlement from 3M, which is wonderful. So that's also adding to our capital. We're putting it right back into capital projects. The yellow section that is bolded in red, that is all of those lead service loans and all the capital that we've been talking about. Again, 27.2 in that entire section. You can kind of read the details. That's how we're kind of all keeping it straight. If you take a look at the highlighted red for the SLRF loan payments, you'll see in 27, 28 right now on the loans that we anticipate receiving. Our first payments will be in 27 for $75,000. And then $175,000 in 2028. Again, it's all worked into the cash flow. And then hit the green line and highlight, we are within, our cash reserves are within our policy at 26.68% by the end of 28. So lots going on, but the fund is on target. I appreciate all the input to help get this balanced. So, and again, we'll continue to revisit this year by year. And then the next couple of charts, it's just highlights. It's showing that in 2026 there on that top bar, that is our peak year, almost $11 million in total capital. That's that big $8 million forgivable loan. You can see drawdowns in the second little chart there. Drawdowns of cash reserves, those are planned, and it's all capital. It's all one-time operating costs. With the fees, everything's paying for itself. So this all has to do with capital and drawing those funds down. On the next page, I'm just going to zero in on 2026. Laura put this up earlier. It's not on this page, but infrastructure and lead pipes are $9.3 million. And then listed on this sheet, we have $1.4 million in capital equipment and $215,000 in vehicles. And again, all funded with those user charges. And then you saw this earlier with Laura as well. If you focus in on the difference between 25 and 26 on those in that outer column, it is an increase of the 69 cents per month to balance that fund. Any questions on water? Okay, I'm going to keep moving. The next one is WPC. And again, we've done a lot of talk about this with the bank loan. This is our statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in net position. If we follow the 26th column all the way down to the bottom, you'll see we have net position of estimated at $63.5 million at the end of 26. Again, very significant assets. As we progress through all this and we construct South Slope, you're going to see that net position number as well as our assets jump significantly. Taking a look at the cash flow that we've talked about, again, we followed the plan with the increases. This is required as part of the bank loan. The cost of South Slope, like Laura said, all in, everything, is $132,800,000, and that's for construction, engineering, and design. Of that amount, we are cash flowing almost $12 million in an effort to try to reduce the financing costs as much as possible. And that was part of raising the fees those couple years at 9% earlier. So it has been working, this plan is absolutely working. This cash flow was presented to the bank, and the first payment right now is projected to be due 2029. It just simply depends on how quickly we draw funds, how quickly we get it constructed, but right in there, somewhere between 29 and 30 is when our first payment will be due. All of the operating budgets are balanced. The main reason for this increase is debt service. If we strip off the debt service, we're actually looking more at a 2% increase in our operating, between salaries and operating. The fee structure, as Laura had mentioned also, we've got 6% for the first 3 years. Then we've got 5%, that is the next 4 years. Starts going down a little bit. Then 4% for 3 years, and then basically 2% thereafter right now, as best we can project. So very similar to water, very similar to sanitation and stormwater as well. That 2% number seems like it's a pretty good number to beat. If we take a look at in the green highlighted column there, you'll see our net cash reserves and investments. We are at 61.77%. So we are right within our policy, but we have not completed the project yet as of 28. So that's why those reserves right now are a little higher. It's going to be going down closer to that 30-35% range once we get construction completed. Any questions on the cash flow? Again, this is just kind of a visual to show those next 3 years, 26 through 28, lots of capital. The peak year, again, is actually 2026. We've got $34 million in wastewater treatment plant capital. So very significant capital going out. And again, the same thing on our cash reserves. We're taking the loans. We're pulling down some of the reserves we built up to cash flow the project as much as possible. So those are planned drawdown in cash reserves. Again, it's working, so. And again, here is the capital that you've seen before. The infrastructure portion that's in front of you tonight, it's also in the back of your packet. Infrastructure in this fund is almost $2 million. Again, that is sewer lines under the pavement projects that were presented. We've got $32,050,000 in equipment, and that includes $30 million for South Slope to get that started, and vehicles of $65,000. Then again, here's our user fees. Again, zero in on the difference between 25 and 26, the last column, and it's going up $2.58 per month. And any questions on the wastewater treatment plant?
This might sound like a very simplistic question, but I kind of am asking it maybe to make a point as well. So hypothetically, if we were to somehow have a boom in population, would we be able to readjust these rates so that it's spread out and it'd be lower?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
The
Absolutely.
more growth you have, the more you can spread the costs.
Exactly.
These are just based on what we know today.
And that's regardless of whether it's multi-unit buildings or single-family homes.
Yeah, I mean,
Kinda, sorta, because they all have different rates. Okay, got it.
any other questions on that? As we move into stormwater, again, this is our statement of net position. Go down to the bottom of that 26 row, our column. We've got over $13 million of net position at the end of the year, and we've got over $12.14 million in net assets. Tying this out into the cash flow, again, following the plan that we went through July 15th. And then you'll see right there at the very top row, the 2% increases each year, 26 through 28. And highlighted in yellow with the red bold around it is all of the capital projects, over $4 million over 4 years. And again, I mentioned this at the round table, but back in 2019 and 21, we didn't have any money for projects. We had some money for some salaries and just general some maintenance. But now we are up to over $1 million a year. So very significant for our citizens. And then look at the highlighted green row. You'll see the ending cash reserves at 37.48. So that meets our policy. And it's a little higher, than our 30%, but it's because of just the timing of when projects are falling. Again, just a visual of the charts, and you can see in green is our capital. Again, 2026 seems to be the year that we're just going gangbusters, but yeah, it's a big year for capital. Over $1.4 million in stormwater projects. And again, we're kind of drawing some of the cash reserves down. And this one shows as well the capital being spent, and on infrastructure that's in front of you tonight on the agenda as well. Infrastructure projects for stormwater, $980,000. Equipment, $400,000, and vehicles at $60,000. And then the last page on this one is looking at the fees. If you go down the medium column and you look between 25 and 26, you'll see the difference of only 13 cents a month in order to get all those projects done. Any questions on storm? No. And then lastly is sanitation. Again, the 26 column, go clear to the bottom. We've got $4.2 million in net position, and just practically the same amount in net assets, and that is primarily in the sanitation fund, all vehicles and all of our garbage carts. On a cash flow basis, again, planned increases. Operating budgets are balanced. It funds, as presented, $2.8 million in capital over the 4-year period between 2025 to 2028. So it's a significant amount of Packers that we are able to pay cash for. And I think this was before everyone here, but back in 20 and 21, this fund was also significantly underfunded, and we borrowed hundreds of thousands of dollars from the general fund in order to fund and pay for some Packers. And now we've got reserves, and it's fully funding itself, and it paid the general fund back. So we are in a very good position. Again, the 2% is working. You will see in the red highlighted portion there in the yellow, if you see that kind of midstream there, for reserves, $1.2 million. You might say, wow, why do we have so much money in sanitation building up? It's because in 2031, so several years more down the road, we've got over $1.6 million to fund 3 automated Packers. So again, we're planning in small increments. We're going to keep the money and pay cash for it. So Denver and Sarah, they're doing a great job keeping on track. Again, just a visual here with the capital being spent. Again, the cash reserves going up for future purchases. And the very last one here yeah, showing the capital. And then the very last one showing the impact between 25 and 26. If you look at the residential column, 23 cents a month balances that fund. And then just a very, very quick review. In summary, the fees needed to balance all four of these enterprise funds for 2026 equals the $3.63 a month, or $43.56 on an annual basis. Again, that does not include the property taxes and franchise fees that we'll be discussing in September and October. And Laura and Denver will be bringing back the first reading of these updated ordinances for these fee increases September 23rd for your consideration. And once those get approved, that will give finance about a 60-day window to get our software updated and get everything ready for January 1 of 26. So with your approval, also, we would like to place these documents in the final review book for October, but I think we'll have minimal conversation at that time, and I'm very happy to answer any questions you might have right now.
Questions from the council? Yes, Mr. Schmidt.
I'm sorry, I flew flew
No,
through
it's
it.
good, it's good.
No, I don't so much have a question, but I did want to thank to Carol, Bob, to the entire staff. When many of us first came onto the council, these funds were in disarray, as you highlighted. We said they were enterprise funds that were supposed to operate like a business, but we weren't doing the minimal updates every year, which led to us having to make some hard choices about big updates. And then we'd be looking around and saying, oh, there's no money in that fund, and oh, we're gonna have to replace things. And it used to feel panicked and frantic whenever we talked about these funds, and now it is clear and there's a vision. We've moved away from focusing on vanity numbers that make us feel good about keeping things low, but forgetting that we have $1.6 million in 2 years, or how the South Slope redevelopments. I really appreciate how we've got a handle on this, and much as I do not love increasing our rates and fees, I think we've made the decision, right, to operate this in a way and to get to a point where it's minimal every year instead of having to keep throwing 30-year increases every 10 years, but pretend in between like we didn't need to raise our rates. So thank you for that.
Also
Thank
appreciate
you for
hearing
that.
you talk about paying cash for some of these capital items, because that's saving us money in the long run. My only question was, are we in a delayed delivery period like we were with the fire trucks and ambulances and all of that?
Yes. Fire trucks, yes.
Right, but
we are making
this is for sanitation.
Yes, I mean, we are doing an excellent job getting everything
So
caught up.
despite the delays in production, we still are on a schedule,
Yes.
Denver, of
Yes.
getting it when we need it and
Yes.
it aligning with the funding that we have.
Yeah, we lock the prices in early,
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
then we
right.
pick them up later. And that's probably the best thing that I can say about what Denver and Sarah Mark are doing down there at Public Works.
Thank you.
They've got a good handle on that. The one thing that you don't see here either, and I'll just bring it up, is that when LRS becomes operational, it will have a huge impact on our sanitation fund.
Yeah.
It doesn't show up here. And somebody had asked a question earlier about, projecting out, right? Whether it was the IEPA loan, making commitments. I mean, we've made a commitment there, but we have to annually adopt whatever that funding source is, the amounts required to fund the principal and interest. But that will have an impact on this. That doesn't show up here. What doesn't show up here is any of the growth that's planned downtown, all that residential growth that's coming, or whatever we do at the riverfront, or whatever happens ultimately when the south end of the city starts to develop. So the investments that this council has been making year after year into its infrastructure, it hits the bottom line. And I know Carol knows that when we talk with bond counsel and bond advisors and financial advisors, a financially healthy city is one that's reinvesting in itself all the time. If you stop investing in yourself, it starts to bring down your bondability and your bond rating. So the reality is that we look great. I mean, I think we look great. I'm just sharing that with you so that in future years, you'll remember.
It's getting a lot better. And we do have a great team, and I might even mention.
That's the answer.
I've got 3 members of my staff here, our managers in the back, and I'll tell you, they make me look good all day long. They do.
Have they met
Really
Lupe?
hard.
Lupe, have you met the council? You're the assistant finance director, so
Yes.
stand up and be seen so they can see you.
Thanks for joining Team Moline.
And then we've got Courtney Reed, our budget manager. I know you've seen her, and you all know Janine, so we've got a great team.
And we all know Janine.
Thank you. Mr. Timmy?
Slightly off topic, but within the topic of budget work session, I figured this was a more appropriate time to ask this question. Assuming 20.5 passes, which is the partial rescinding agreement with Bush later in this meeting,
Yes.
will we be allocating that to a particular, the money we've set aside into a particular fund? Question mark. Like, what are we doing with that? What is it, 2.3?
It's 2.8 million.
2.8.
It was set aside specifically for the JCPenney Phase 1 project.
Right.
And that, again, ultimately will be council's decision, but the recommendation would be to move it into the Special Capital Improvement Fund.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, but I'm going to move very quickly
You
into
did.
the budget amendments.
Okay.
And I'm going to look around. How quickly would you like me to kind of go through this?
Well,
wanna-
what is the outcome you're looking for, since we can't take any votes?
Yep. It's going to become before you by resolution on the first meeting in September, but I wanted to go through what the changes are. And the key thing is, again, no surprises. We've definitely had some changes, so I kind of wanted to highlight that. But we are and continue to be in excellent financial position. And the amendments that are in front of you tonight are really paving the way as we move into the 26 to 28. So I'm going to go through these very, very quickly. And David, did you put anything up for the amendments, or I'll just speak to it? Or they can click on it. If you want to click on the link for the amendments,
It's only 260
Second.
pages. It won't take
we're not
long.
going through, I promise. I'm going to stick with the first two. But I'm just going to introduce it here that every year the council has the opportunity to amend its budget by December 31st. And the August 25 budget amendments reflect council action taken by resolution, inflationary adjustments, staffing changes, updated CIP projects that have already occurred through this year and where we anticipate it to go here by the end of the year. And these changes have all been updated since the budget was formally adopted December 3rd of 2024. Formal budget amendments adopted by council are required to reflect recent changes to the current budget and to avoid any adverse effect to the city's legal budgetary compliance. Tonight, this is the first of 2 rounds of amendments that will be made to the 25 budget. The second will come following our budget discussions in November, later this year. The proposed 25 amendments equate to a net increase in fund balance of a little over $3 million since December 3rd of '24. And that is primarily due to a couple of reduced revenues that have been more than offset by a deferred economic development project, which is the $2.8 million that we had just referred to, as well as moving several other capital infrastructure projects into future years. The net result equates to a projected ending fund balance at December 31st, 25 of $190,489,023. The highlights for the changes of the revenues is a decrease of $3.3 million. It's the bullets, if by chance you have your laptops up, but I'll speak to it briefly. Other city taxes are projected up $675,000, due largely to increased home rule sales tax, offset by some small reduction in our cable franchise fees and prepared food and liquor tax. Licenses and permits are projected up $214,000, primarily due to building permits, which is great. We've really been experiencing some good growth here on our building permits and electrical permits and plan review fees. Intergovernmental revenue is actually projected down about $5 million. And it's due largely to pushing back. It's the timing of some of our grants. $3 million of MFT federal dollars for the phase 2 of the MIRR path construction is just being deferred into 2026. So it's going to happen, but the revenue's down and the expenditures are also being reduced. We also have $1 million that are reduced federal money that was engineering services for the Arsenal Bridge. Again, it's going to circle back in 26 and some of the future years. We also had additional reductions in the personal property replacement tax, and that is clawed back dollars from the state. Again, it is at more of an accelerated amount than what we had budgeted for, but luckily we had reserves set aside because we knew it was coming. So it took a chunk out of that. And then those decreases were offset by some increases in our state sales tax and income tax. So it's all kind of balanced itself out. Charges for services are down about $1 million, and it's a positive thing because it is a reduction in chargebacks from our liability fund because our claims have really been coming in very, very well. So, yeah, HR has been doing a great job managing those liability claims. That's kind of the highlights, the revenues. And then on the expenditure side, again, like I said, expenditures are down about $6 million on the governmental activities due to those projects being deferred into 2026 and the economic development incentive project being pushed back. Right now, I shouldn't say it's pushed back. Those, we've just removed the expenditures from JCPenney's and we're just leaving it in that special revenue fund that Bob referred to. In addition, the city has once again realized considerable savings from vacant positions. Currently, we have about 25 positions that are open. That fluctuates literally day to day, but 25 of the snapshot I just talked with Leah, that's about 66% of our workforce. And it's equated to about $450,000 over the course of the year. Again, they're not open every single day of the year, but it's up and down. But right now, there's 25 open positions. Trying to look at these highlights quick. So in summary, all funds are in good financial position and within city policy regarding our reserves. And in the packet, it goes through each one of the funds. I've got the adopted budget as well as the new amended budget. The highlights are the general fund. We are projecting at December 31st of 25 at 26.22%. That is up about 628,000 over our 25% level. However, that 628 includes the 575 from 24 that we haven't yet allocated. So, but there is about $628,000 as we enter the budget discussions that if council chooses to want to allocate that somewhere else to kind of keep within that 25% range, that's available. So that's a real positive thing going into budget talks. Parks are on page 20 in your packet. They're right on target. They've actually had some good years with their expenditures are a little lower. Library as well, right on target. The cash flows, I might just highlight those actually. Whoops. I don't know if I, well, I'm gonna speak to it because this is moving a little bit slow. Yep. Okay. I think I'm just gonna talk to it. We talked about,
What page do you need, sorry?
on my sheet, it would be page 27, my numbered sheet. There you go. We just talked about the enterprise funds, so I'm not going to touch on any of those. So those are all good. And if we just very briefly on the cash flow, I think we got to go one more page there to 29, David, if we could. There you go. We are starting on the internal service funds, and each one of those, there are 6 funds, but they are right on target. They are either above or at levels that we had budgeted them. Our health insurance reserve funds are at 32.8%. So again, good, healthy numbers going into the 26 year. Our retiree health insurance is 165%. Again, those OPEB calculations right on target at about 31% and holding. So very good numbers for the retirees. Our IT budget that David manages, we are just under 30%. So going forward, again, we have money available for any types of upgrades to keep all of our departments going, whether it's software or hardware. Our liability insurance is right now at 115%. That's a tough one because a lot of it is self-insured. We have to have adequate fund balances according to our actuarial reports, but we are kind of bringing that fund balance down ever so slight, but that fund is doing very, very well. And then the last 2 is our facility fund. I know council has given us direction that they'd like us to try to work towards building
Facilities maintenance.
yeah, I'm trying to say, it's not an easy one to walk into. When I first started here, there was virtually no dollars. We now have, it's not a lot of money, but it's about $1 million in that fund where general maintenance, for the most part, is being kept up to date. But I am going to be working with Denver staff, and we're going to be putting some effort into that. The hard part is when you have limited dollars to try to get the plan. But just like we've done with our other ones, we're going to give it our best effort and start trying to work towards some good solutions in the future. And then our fleet fund is being very well managed. It has ending reserves at about 67%. This is one of those funds that is really up and down. And I believe the year is 2027. I should have wrote it down. But we've got one of the big fire trucks, like $2.2 million. We've already ordered it, $2.2 million.
That's the ladder truck.
The ladder truck.
So you're aware of it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes, and I think that year we've almost got $4.5 million in vehicles coming out. But again, this fund, I so appreciate the council being behind us on this and helping the planning. We are paying cash for these vehicles. So many cities, when you have a $2.2 million vehicle,
You go in debt.
they lease them.
Yep.
They have to bond or take loans. And we have now got everything on a cycle. Sarah and Denver, we've worked very, very hard, and it is absolutely funding itself. And then in addition to that, even though we have scheduled replacements, if things come up and you end up and you have a lemon, something that absolutely, it's just a piece of junk, but you can get it out and get it replaced if need be,
Right.
So, anyways, I appreciate your support in that because it is working. But that's our amendments. Again, there's no surprises here. And with your consideration here, we would like to put this on the agenda for adoption for September 9th.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Schmidt?
So we had not quite the total net position where we essentially have about $3.1 million more available to us than originally expected. But most of that, like 2.8, came from that one deal that was recently rescinded, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it's
So otherwise, we're
With 628,000 is what we have.
We're sitting on the money.
and that's across all funds, up and down.
of course, yeah.
Yeah, which makes it very, very complicated. But yes, the $2.8 million of pulling that project out and letting the money sit idle was a big part of it.
So otherwise, we're within a few $100,000
Yeah.
across all
Yeah,
funds.
up, down, everywhere.
So that's a really good indication that we kind of hit the mark right on our levy last year, right? Because we don't have
Yeah.
so much more than expected. It's
Yep.
a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
There
thank you.
It's laser-focused budgeting.
There were a lot, I will say there were a lot of changes, kind of tweaks, but I mean, that's what amendments are for, and we've incorporated council action with all your resolutions throughout the year, and it's working.
Yes, Mr. Tillman.
I would just like to say that, 600,000 over, how big was our budget? 190? What was our budget for the year?
About 160 million
That
now.
is just like spot on. It is really, really good accounting and prediction. It is such a small number compared to the whole. So I think that the whole finance team deserves a lot of credit for that.
Stand up and take credit.
Yes, congratulations,
Good job.
thank you. Well, thanks to everyone, and we know that the directors carefully manage budgets too, and that's really
No,
helpful.
the directors are absolutely, yes.
So it sounds like there's money for housing and homelessness projects. Just saying, I'm putting that out there for the council.
Your Honor, yes.
Okay, anything further?
No.
All right, we shall move on. Thank you. I call our regular council meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do you have an invocation, Alderperson McNeil?
do not, Your Honor.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy.
Present.
Macias.
Present.
Razak.
Present.
Timian.
Present.
Finch.
Present.
McNeil.
Present.
Castro.
Present.
Schmidt.
Present?
All right, looks like we have to do remote electronic attendance again.
You have already authorized
Okay.
the electronic attendance. It doesn't need to be reauthorized because you
We haven't changed
don't
any.
adjourn the
Correct.
committee of the whole. You just move right into city council.
Got it, thank you. Is there any public comment at this time? Okay, thank you. We have our consent agenda.
Your Honor, I request the approval of Committee of the Whole, Council, and Executive Session meeting minutes of August 5, 2025, and consent agenda items 16.1 through 17.8 inclusively.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion, sorry, no discussion. Roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. That motion carries. Non-consent agenda resolutions. Item number 19.1, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a contract with Walter D. Laud, Inc. for project number 1484, 7th Street and 16th Avenue intersection reconstruction for the amount of $292,565.64.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Razak. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. That motion carries. Item number 19.2, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a purchase and sale agreement with David A. Swanson and Sandra D. Swanson for approximately 10,890 square feet or 0.26 acres of unimproved commercial real property located at the rear of property located at 223 52nd Street, Moline, Illinois, for a purchase price of $19,500, and authorizing all appropriate city officials, officers, city attorney, and staff to do all things necessary to complete each of the city's responsibilities and enforce each of the city's expected benefits as referred to in such agreement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, all, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. That motion carries. Item number 19.3, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a notice of intent to award with Miller Trucking and Excavating Company for project number 1495, 2025 lead service line replacement project for the amount of $3,410,845.00.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, and that motion carries. Item number 19.4, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a contract with Central Excavating, Inc. for project number 1503, 49th Street Drainage Improvements, Phase 1, for the amount of $1,064,157.74.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Schmidt. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries. Item number 19.5, a resolution authorizing the Director of Engineering to execute a proposal for construction engineering services with IMEG Consultants Corp. for project number 1503, 49th Street Drainage Improvements, Phase 1, for an amount not to exceed $157,290.00.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, that motion carries. Non-consent agenda, first reading ordinances. Item number 20.1, an ordinance amending Chapter 35, Zoning and Land Development of the Moline Code of Ordinances regarding certain additions to the zoning and land development regulations, including amendments to Article 1, General Provisions and Administration, Division 2, Word Usage, Abbreviations and Definitions, Section 35-1203, Definitions, Article 3, Zoning, Division 4, Land Use Regulations, Section 35-3401, Regulation of Allowed Uses, Table 35-3401.1, Permitted Land Uses, Section 35-3409, Principal Transportation and Utility Land Uses, and Section 35-3415, Accessory Transportation and Utility Land Uses concerning commercial, principal, and accessory solar energy systems.
Motion to advance the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Motion to advance to second reading carries. Item number 20.2, an ordinance amending Chapter 5, Amusements of the Moline Code of Ordinances, Section 5-1101C, by increasing the number of video gaming terminal licensed establishments in the city at the request of owner Jeremy Webb of Webb Services LLC, DBA Casey's Tavern, 1512 15th Street, Moline.
Motion to advance the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Motion to advance to second reading carries. Item number 20.3, an ordinance amending Chapter 5, Amusements of the Moline Code of Ordinances, Section 5-1101C, by increasing the number of video gaming terminal licensed establishments in the city at the request of Jessica Bernauer, purchaser of the Dewdrop Inn, 3620 4th Avenue, Moline.
Motion to advance the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Motion to advance to second reading carries. Item number 20.4, an ordinance amending Chapter 35, Zoning and Land Development of the Moline Code of Ordinances, Section 35-3204, R2, One Family Residence District, by repealing Section 35-3204 in its entirety and enacting in lieu thereof one new Section 35-3204 dealing with the same subject matter and amending Table 35-3201.1 Residential and Resource District principal structure bulk standards by repealing Table 35-3201.1 in its entirety and enacting in lieu thereof one new Table 35-3201.1 dealing with the same subject matter, and amending Table 35-3201.2.1 residential and resource districts building lot coverage by repealing Table 35-3201.2.1 in its entirety and enacting in lieu thereof one new Table 35-3201.2.1 dealing with the same subject matter, and amending Table 35-5100.3 minimum required parking spaces by repealing Table 35-5100.3 in its entirety and enacting in lieu thereof one new Table 35-5100.3 dealing with the same subject matter.
Motion to advance to second reading.
Second.
Motion by Timian, seconded by Finch. Discussion. Yes, Mr. Timian.
I apologize to the clerk for the mouthful on that. There was some discussion with staff and legal counsel about how our current bulk standards for infill development allows for 25% reduction of bulk standards. So a 5-foot side yard setback would now be 3.5 or 3.25 as a result of that. And there was some discussion about now we're making it less restrictive by putting it at 5 foot for smaller lots. And there was a conversation about if we should amend this. Jennifer was the one who brought that up. I personally don't feel like we need to do that. We're already allowing for larger lot coverage, larger homes and smaller lots than was previously allowed. So I don't really see a need to get really greedy and put an extra 1.5 foot in side yards, take it away. So I just wanted to kind of air that because there had been some emails about this, and I think the 5-foot side yard, we're treating these lots more like traditional lots now, so I think leaving it at 5 foot is probably appropriate. If staff disagrees, I'm more than happy to adjust it, but I just kind of wanted to throw that out there as a informational.
Thank you.
You didn't see that.
Anything further on this item, Mr. Schmidt?
I knew we had this.
I'm seeking a little clarity. So the rule is 5 foot, but because of other rules, it would be actually down to 3.25?
Previous rules, because these were infill that did not meet minimum lot size, there were a separate set of rules under certain conditions that we could do 25% variance for setbacks in order to kind of try to fit something in.
So this actually technically restricts them by 1.5 foot.
This would now be because this is no longer infill, I suppose, there is a carve out for it. It's now back to 5 foot instead of the 3.5 or whatever. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
If is that correct?
I think that is correct, right?
The two attorneys nod.
Thank you. Anything further from the council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Motion to advance to second reading carries. Item number 20.5, an ordinance rescinding ordinance number 3015-2024 and partially rescinding a redevelopment and economic incentive agreement by and between the City of Moline, Renew Moline Properties LLC, 1701 Series, and 1701 Fifth Avenue LLC.
Motion to advance the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Finch, seconded by Castro. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Motion to advance to second reading carries, and that's all I have this evening, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. Miscellaneous business, do not have anything at the moment. Mr. Macias?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Razak?
No, thank you.
Mr. Timian?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Ms. Finch?
Annual Belgian Fest is September 14th, starts at 12 p.m., goes to 4 p.m.
Thank you. Mr. McNeil?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Ms. Castro?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Schmidt?
Nothing wrong.
Staff?
Yes. No, take advantage of everybody's time that's been seated. No, I won't do that. Just a reminder, there was a announcement that went out regarding 7th Avenue partially reopening. So just so you're aware of it, both the intersection here at 15th, 16th, as well as 15th open. The only thing you won't be able to do is make an eastbound movement, going down 16th to turn right or heading east on 7th. You'll have to either go up the hill or in front of City Hall. So that portion is phase 2, and as you can see, it's well underway. So we might actually want to do a little ribbon cutting. This is the city's first roundabout. So my thought is maybe we plan a little get-together before we open it on September 2nd. The council can cut the ribbon on what is the first. It's start with, well,
It's next Tuesday.
Ashley's good. She will get it planned if you can be there. We'll stretch that ribbon. I just don't know who wants to drive their car in the circle first.
Have a scooter.
We need a first scooter. We need a first bicycle, a first scooter, and a first car. How's that? So be thinking about it. Show up however you want. So I'm just passing that along, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Any other staff? All right, hearing none, is there any further public comment? Nope. Okay, executive session?
Your Honor, I make a motion that the council convene an executive session for the purpose of discussion of collective negotiating matters 5 ILCS 120-2C2.
Second.
All right, motion by Macias, seconded by Timian. Roll call, please.
Alderperson McNeil.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy. Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
All right, we're going in exec. Thank you very much, everyone.